My name is Nell and because I've not met many of you, I've been asked to tell you a little bit about myself, my ministry as a missionary in Africa. My husband Jack and I founded the African Bible Colleges. We have one in Liberia, one in Malawi, and one in Uganda. But when God called us to go to the mission field, we weren't sent out as educators to build colleges. God sent us to the middle of the jungle in Africa, the thickest, darkest jungle, into Liberia, West Africa. But our decision to go there was not an easy one. Jack at the time was a PCA pastor in Picayune, Mississippi, and we had a lot of excuses not to be obedient to the Great Commission that we find in Mark 16, go you into all the world and preach this gospel. But our excuses were very good that we shouldn't go into all the world. After all, I felt that Jack was too old. He was 45, I was a little younger, not much. And besides that, we had 7 children. I don't know of any mission organization that would send someone out for the first time with 7 children. And besides, Jack was a preacher, and I just said, you know, Lord, he can preach and send other young people to the mission field. But God definitely called us to this little country of West Africa called Liberia. And as we flew into that little mission station with its 750-foot airstrip and our little Cessna 180, which barely skipped over the thick trees, the thick forest, and landed there, I could look out the window and I could see that the natives, the people there, had built us a little bamboo house up on stilts, and in the back of the house they were boiling water in one of those big iron pots, you know, like they boiled missionaries in. But it wasn't long before we felt right at home. The people were so loving and so welcoming to us, and so happy to have a missionary there in the midst of the jungle. So we only were able, however, to live in that little bamboo house 2 years before it burned to the ground. And Jack rebuilt a cement block house, 2-story. And my thought was, this house will last forever. It was so strong. But in just 1 year, that house too burned to the ground. And so people at home were saying, God doesn't want you in Africa anymore. He's trying to tell you something. You need to come home. But I said, no, Africa is our home. And God was just beginning to reveal something to us, his plan for Africa. Christian universities, Christian colleges. In Liberia, there was only 1 university for the entire country. And so we decided that we would start our own mission organization called African Bible Colleges. Jack said, let's put an S on it because Africa is a huge continent, and this should not be the only one. If it works, we should build them across Africa, which is what we did. We put faith into action, and when we realized the impact that our graduates were having as they left the Liberian campus, we built one in Malawi. Some of you have been there to see that beautiful campus with its radio station, hospital, and Christian academy. And then we went and built the 3rd Bible College in Uganda. Jack's vision to reach the lost through radio is also being fulfilled, especially now during COVID. We have 3 radio stations on each campus, and where we can get the gospel out. And we also have a mass communication program for the students at all 3 colleges. And as the director of mass communication, my responsibility now is to get this Bible College by Radio teaching program that Jack and I recorded and is still being broadcast all over Africa, to put it on the internet so that even the correspondence courses can be taken online. So this is a big project. I have a team in Malawi working on these programs, putting them uploading them so we can get them to the States and they can put them on the internet. So do pray about that program. It's a very tedious work and time-consuming and a big undertaking for us. Jack and I first came to Alexandria Presbyterian Church when you were a very young church, meeting in the pastor's home. You have faithfully supported us through all these years as your voice for Africa, reaching those that perhaps would never have the opportunity to hear. The gospel is unstoppable. As long as churches like you don't stop giving, will not stop going, and will not stop praying.